information to the big creators. So they know exactly what to get. Find myself getting lost in that music. Maybe I need to change it again. It's like, and then I remind myself I've got a show to do. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shadow at Night. This is Wednesday, November the 6th, 2024, the day after the aftermath of the big U.S. election. A lot of people are saying, Shadow, how can you spend so much time on that U.S. election? It's a distraction. It's a distraction. Tell me what exactly it's a distraction from. Well, what's going on in Canada? Trudeau's trying to slip this one past us, and he's trying to slip that one past us. And what exactly is he trying? We know what's going on with Trudeau and his bill, C-293, C-63. We know what's going on. We covered that at length. The thing is, guys, I can't cover everything all in one night, so we stagger it over the course of a week or 2 weeks. Whenever something new comes up, we will bring that to your attention. But right now, the focus is on what's going on in the United States, the woke meltdowns on television, and then just TikTok videos from random libs / Marxists who can't believe they've lost faith in their country. Oh my God, over half of the country are all racists. Hey, listen, I want to show you something interesting that happened to me last night and the night before on YouTube. Look at this email I got from them earlier today. YouTube removed your content. Hi, Shadow Davis. It looks like November 5th, blah, 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 U.S. election. It's all on the line. That was last night's show. Didn't follow community guidelines to help keep our community safe. We removed it from YouTube. So they took the video down. That was, 3 or so this afternoon? 5:21 this afternoon. So I complained. I went, what are you guys even talking about? They said at 53 minutes and 47 seconds, we talked about the vaccines, those things there, and how people are not taking them anymore because they're worried about safety and efficacy. And 5 minutes after that, they reinstated the video claiming, we were wrong. That's twice in 2 days this week so far. So I can't wait to see what happens next. The Shadow, by the way, if you're not following me on YouTube, go ahead and follow me there on YouTube. It's the Shadow Davis Show. It's easy to find. And I was also on with Anita Krishna, former director of news at Global in Vancouver. She's great. I love Anita. We're going to bring her on the show here more often. Anyway, if you want to catch that show, it's on my Facebook, it's on my X, and it's on Anita's YouTube page as well. So go follow her as well. The Shadow at Night live stream is brought to you, as always, by CanadaNanoSilver.com.
Comparing Crest toothpaste to SilverSeuticals toothpaste. First, we're starting out with Crest. It's a classic. It's an original. It's what I've used most of my life. But that being said, it does have its problems. First off, the consistency is so weird and thick, and I get it's a paste, but it really doesn't spread that well. And I must also say that I'm not in love with the taste. I get toothpaste isn't supposed to taste good, but why shouldn't it? But that being said, it does get the job done. Next, we have SilverSeuticals. They have 3 flavors, but today we're going with Bubbleberry. And already it smells so good. So I'm excited to see what this tastes like. The consistency is also a lot smoother, and I must say it spreads way nicer in your mouth.
This literally tastes like fruit bubblegum.
Yeah, this toothpaste was pretty good. I actually went in for seconds, and it's infused with nano silver, so it helps remineralize your teeth and keep them fresh throughout the day.
100% go with Silversiticals.
And here's the results. What's your favorite toothpaste?
CanadaNanoSilver.com. If you want to call Kevin and Annie, you can do that. 204-808-9292. You can find them at CanadaNanoSilver.com. Retail locations over 30 all across the country. And if you would like to become a retailer of these awesome products, you get a hold of Kevin and Anna through the contact tab. Again, that is CanadaNanoSilver.com. All right, let's have a look at these election results from last night. This is, again, the New York Times election map. It's the first one that comes up. It's easy. I know everybody objects. Why are you using the New York Times? They're a leftist rag. I get it. I understand, but it's easy to use. It's user-friendly. What can I tell you? But before we get to that, I want to ask you, were you up late last night? I know a lot of people who were up very late last night, very interested in whether or not there were going to be ballot dumps in places like Wisconsin and Arizona and Michigan and Pennsylvania, especially. The blue wall states, the ones that went red last night by smaller margins, let's be honest, but they did go red, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Nevada still hasn't been called, and neither has Arizona at all. Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA was up broadcasting very late last night on his YouTube and Rumble channels. He had a big hand in ballot watching, what did they call it? Ballot chasing. They wanted to make sure at Turning Point, they have thousands of volunteers all across the United States and employees for that matter, part-time and full-time. And they were making sure there were no late night ballot dumps last night. They had people stationed at different suspect polling stations all across the country. And when finally Fox News called the election last night, I think about 2:00 Central Time, because Charlie did not want to admit it. He kept asking his guys, devil's advocate, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? Where can they do a ballot dump? What's going on? When Fox News finally declared last night, this was the
news decides Donald Trump is president of the United States. We've got our republic back, folks.
Let's go. There it is.
Everybody should remember this moment. Look, I'm gonna echo Charlie from earlier. Remember where you were when this happened. Remember where you were when you realized that the Uniparty and all of these, just the establishment, you said it's time to actually participate, and look what you guys have done.
And if anyone deserves to get tears in his eyes, it's Charlie. I think we all agree.
I think Erica was chopping some onions or something in the break room.
No one has worked harder than Charlie for this.
We gotta hear some words here from you, Charlie. You put all this together, my man. Let's hear it.
I am just humbled by God.
It's all God. It's all God. God alone. God alone.
That's all I can say.
Decision desk has it. Pennsylvania.
It's done.
It's beginning.
So they had to wait for Pennsylvania to be called last night. And once Pennsylvania was called, Trump got to 267 and Alaska. And the left-wing corporate media, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, all the big NBC, ABC, CBS, they did not want to call it last night. Even Alaska, which only had 37% of their vote counted, was so overwhelmingly red that eventually they had to call it. But they knew. And once Fox News declared the winner, that's when that video was taken. And that's when Donald Trump came out with his entire family and many of his friends and allies. And he gave the speech late last night. Kamala Harris didn't. She didn't speak to anybody last night. She just took off. She did call Trump to concede today. And then she gave an 11-minute speech. And I'm going to go by what you guys say in the comments. I've got the speech if you want to see what Kamala had to say. So I'm going to go by the comments. If you guys want to see that speech, I'll play it. If you don't, I won't. So give me some comments. Let me know if you want to hear. I think that enough of us have had enough of her. We've heard too much already, burdened by what has been. So I'm a no. I don't want to play. I watched it already today. I don't want to watch it again. But if you guys, heck no. Andrea says, yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, go ahead, vote. I will honor what you guys want. Democracy in action. They're trying to take away our democracy. Oh no. We're going to get to the woke meltdowns in just a second. Here's what the map looks like. By the way, Republicans have taken control of the U.S. Senate as well, and it looks like they're tracking to take the House of Representatives as well, but they're still counting ballots. Florida had their stuff in an hour after their polls closed last night. Florida was done. Look at Arizona. Arizona. 69% of ballots have been counted in Arizona. Now, Trump is up there, and several of the pundits have given Arizona to Trump. And look at Nevada, 88% still. Like, dude, it's a full day after your polls have closed. You come on already. So anyway, as it stands right now, officially, you only need 270 to win. So Donald Trump is the president-elect. He's at 295, but it looks like he'll probably be at, what is this, 11, so that'll be 306, and then this one. So 312 by the time it's all over with. This is a whitewash. This is that red wave that they've been talking about for the past few years that somehow never materialized, but last night it did. So there you go. Donald Trump will be the president of the United States. This is a woke message that was posted on X earlier today for Nova Scotians from Claudia Chender. Claudia is an NDP MLA in Nova Scotia as they're gearing up for their election there. And she says, like many of you. By the way, Jagmeet Singh weighed in on Trump's election last night as well. We have video to play for you of that later on. Like many of you, I woke up to the chilling election results in the United States. Sadness and anger don't begin to capture how I feel. Women will continue to be denied basic health care. Baby killing. Families will continue to fear for their children depending on how they show up in the world. A whole generation will grow up with a leader who is small and mean and full of hate. So if you woke up this morning feeling exhausted, feeling like no matter what we do, it doesn't matter, you're not alone. But remember, we are Nova Scotians. We're strong. We persevere through storms and wind and today maybe even fear. We're not divided, but united. So hug your family a little harder. Check in with your friends. Take some time for yourself. Look in on your neighbors. It's what makes us Nova Scotians. Again, that heartfelt left-wing Marxist message coming from Claudia Chender, who is an NDP MLA in Nova Scotia. Want to see the first woke meltdown of the night? Okay, here you go.
We get here? How did we get here?
What in the Alice in Wonderland nightmares is going on right now?
All I can say is how fucking dare you?
If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you.
Senate race. It's not gonna happen.
Mom is freaking out. Kamala.
I chose
Please.
family. I chose women. I chose America. I love you.
How the fuck is this still happening? All I've ever known politically is hatred.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
I'm sorry.
Hi. Wow. Mental health crisis. I shouldn't laugh. These people are ill. These kids, I feel bad for them. I'm not sure if they're going to grow up right in this world. It doesn't seem like they have any stability or anchor in their life. I mean, that's how you get to a point like this, right? Let's carry on.
My friends who are Trump supporters, but you don't understand how scared of this man I am. If this guy does end up winning again,
all of the people who voted for him will be like happy and they'll just be celebrating. And everyone else, everyone who feels threatened by him is fucking scared. Like we're scared for our lives. We're scared for our friends.
How dare you put this man into office for another 4 years, knowing damn well what it means for our country, what it means for us as a people.
To know that there is that much ignorance and that much hate in this country, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying.
How the fuck are we back in this same situation again? Who the fuck is voting for him? Genuinely.
Fuck you. I don't want to hear about how shitty your life gets under his policies. Live with that decision. Sit with it. Let it make you uncomfortable. Fuck you.
Thank you, Alex Jones, for putting that together. Wow, I apologize for all the bad language, but for me to edit out all those F-bombs, it would have taken 2 days. I could have dropped a little cuckoo in all those Fs. It's not like we've never heard the word before. I understand some of you feel very strongly about that kind of language, and I get it. I thought it was a little over the top myself, but I think it added to their angst, don't you? Here's another meltdown. Let's see, what do we got here? This is The View today melting down.
Yeah.
It was pretty red last night.
I don't know. I'm profoundly disturbed. I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have.
Let me just stop it there for one moment, Tito. I wonder how they can come to these conclusions if they actually have the ability to read and actually listen, not for some confirmation bias, but just to listen. They would understand that Kamala had no policies. None. Zero. And if she had a policy, she stole it from Trump. Or she flip-flopped so often. Border, she flip-flopped on fracking, she flip-flopped on everything. Just to make herself palatable to the voter. She was a construct of the Democratic Party. The real Kamala Harris never showed her face for the past 4 months. The real Donald Trump, and the real J.D. Vance for that matter, they did. You know how we know that? These guys sat down for extended interviews, long form interviews with Joe Rogan, 3.5 hours, and they just sat and talked like human beings. And that is how we connect with people. I have made friends, lifelong friends on the golf course, meeting somebody for the very first time. You're out there with them for 4.5 hours and you get into conversations about this, that, and the other thing. And you go, you know what? I like this guy. This guy's not sitting there trying to sell me a car. This guy's not sitting there spouting one-line talking points. We're actually having a good conversation, and I'm getting a very good vibe off of him. If you're able to take all the information in from a long-form discussion like that, you get a feel for a person. You get the information, yeah, absolutely, and how they feel about this and how they feel about that and what they might do about this or that. But you get a feel for that person. And the feel that we got from Donald Trump, well, on Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance, for that matter, did not denote this guy like they claimed. And what they don't understand, these Democrats, these leftists, these Marxists, is the power of some of these shows. The millions of people who sit down and listen to these things, and they have the patience to listen through it. That's why I'm so very happy to have an audience like you guys who are willing to sit down and listen to this long, protracted show every single night and talk to each other, discuss things with each other in the comments. I think this is the future of broadcasting. This is the future of the news. I think the left-wing corporate media is this close to dead. Having said that, they still do have an influence to some degree, but not nearly as much as they had before COVID, and certainly way less than they had 10 years ago. They are close to dead. Dead. And shows like this one are the ones that are coming up. So like and share. Get this out to as many people as you possibly can. If you're watching on Facebook tonight, I would like you to go to YouTube after the show is over and follow me there. Trying to build that channel up as well. Same with Rumble. Go to Rumble. Follow me there. I think there's 7,000 people who follow the Rumble channel. That's not enough. We need more people here. We have to get this word out to as many people as we possibly can. I had an interesting conversation with a random guy earlier this morning in the elevator of my building. I'll tell you about that. And it opened my eyes a little bit because sometimes we get so involved and carried away with the level of knowledge we're at, we forget where everybody else is at. So I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. Let's let Sunny continue her rant here.
And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. Well, and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country.
What does it matter? I mean, they are race baiting. It's identity politics. It's divisive. It is hurtful. It is not a positive thing for any society to have to go through. These people continuing to break society down over what the skin color is, what the religion is, what the sexual preference is. It needs to stop. That kind of indoctrination needs to be eliminated absolutely, immediately, everywhere you can find it. The problem is, at least in Canada, it's funded in good part by the federal government. Now, in the United States, yeah, they get some funding from the feds down there, and I believe that Trump is going to, one of the first things he's going to do is remove all of that funding. The other thing that needs to be done is find all of the international funding that's coming in for these awful organizations, these critical race theories organizations, these intersectional organizations, these trans organizations, all of that stuff, that needs to stop, that international funding. And sometimes they use dummy companies to bring that money over and make it look like it's coming from Canadian organizations or American organizations, when in fact it's not. And once you can take the money away, you take away their voice as well. And what you're hearing, we're going to get into a story about Alberta and the teachers there and some of the unions and school boards not following Danielle Smith's edict for parental consent regarding this whole trans agenda there. They feel empowered because they've got some money. But many of these trans activists say, well, what's your problem with the trans people anyway? I mean, we're only like 0.2% of the population. Well, if you're only 0.2% of the population, then why do you have such a loud voice? It's because you're funded by governmental organizations and non-governmental organizations with money that comes from elsewhere. And once we take that money away from you, then your voice will be representative of that 0.2% of the population you actually represent. Period. Game freaking over. Pendulum swings right back down to the bottom. What other woke? Let's see here. We've got, oh, did I play this one yet? Here's an MSNBC meltdown.
Red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49 state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
I can't help but wonder if the American people have given up on democracy.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight.
If she were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida, do you think she would be losing by that much?
I think that we've got to be honest. Among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny.
There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who try to dream a big dream over the past couple of months.
It's not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way
She's the worst of the worst, right? Joy Reid. Oh my God.
they interact with the patriarchy.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men.
Mm-hmm.
It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men.
And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope.
All right. Let's go to the CBC last night. This is the Canadian version of what they were doing down there.
Fraud this, fraud that, and then there was never any evidence, really, at all. And yet people seem still willing to take his word, theoretically, that the fix was in. That's the part that I don't understand in a system that would seem to be working.
Well, yeah, his court challenges didn't go anywhere.
Oh, and by the way, this went viral last night and it was this morning based upon what this woman who has the nerve to wear a poppy had to say.
The argument J.D. Vance has made subsequently is that, okay, well, it might not have been rigged at the ballot box, but they did suppress a laptop that would have changed votes. We know that. They did change voting rules all over the place.
It's not true. Let's not spread misinformation on air. That's not true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. But let's continue.
It's absolutely true. We have public polling for it.
That's not true, which is why there's been no litigation around it and no one's been held liable for that. There's been
Yes, there have. But the courts
take his word, theoretically.
Hang on just a second. The courts did not recognize any standing was the problem. It wasn't that they lost these cases. They did bring them to court, but the judges said, I'm sorry, you haven't got standing to bring that case to us. So we're not even going to hear it. That's what happened.
The voting system that has been set up. Some of the states have taken action. Georgia's fixed up, their system a bit. What they all need to do, and I don't know why they don't do this, is just call Jeb Bush and have him come in and do what he did to Florida.
So she can't wait, this woman here. She cannot wait to say Hitler. She can't wait. You can see her chomping at the bit.
And just do that in your state.
Let's talk about exactly the question that you're asking is one that I've been catching a lot of heat for answering on air, and we've been talking about this in the last week or two. You're talking about the propaganda campaign and the playbook of Trump. This is not new. This is not surprising. This is directly out of Hitler's playbook. This is out of an autocrat playbook. This is a way to, the things that Trump has done.
Aisha Mills, Democrat strategist and liar. She bald-faced lied right in front of millions of people. Well, thousands. It's the CBC. Hundreds, maybe. She bald-faced lied last night. She absolutely did. And that clip went viral, Canadian viral. The Canadian version of viral all over X, Facebook, all of the social media this morning. Is there any kind of honest analysis last night. We'll get to that in just a second. I thought you guys might enjoy this as well. Guy waking up, have a coffee, stand on his porch.
Gets better. Positive energy.
Watching my neighbor tear down her Harris wall sign. Just, I'd throw that up for you. This is Jagmeet Singh's response.
I think a lot of folks woke up today and woke up really worried, really afraid, felt crushed. And I want you to know that now is the time for us to come together to defend Canadian interests. I know that the results of Trump, right now what it looks like Trump's election, is going to have serious impacts on Canadians. So we need to come together, all parties, all leaders, and put Canadian interests first. We have to protect Canadian jobs. We have to be prepared for the impacts of potential tariffs and what that would mean for our economy, for manufacturing, for jobs in Canada. We need to be very united to say, whatever our differences are when it comes to Canadian interests and Canadian jobs, we're all going to work together to defend Canada, to defend Canadian jobs, to defend Canadian interests. That's our priority. Donc, je sais que...
Okay, Jag. Thank you for that. Nobody really cares what you think. But I guess you were the first guy that popped into the hallway and those reporters were anxious to talk to somebody. Here's an actual honest analysis of what happened last night. It comes from CNN. There is one Republican, one right-leaning guy on this entire panel. His name is Scott Jennings. And here's what he had to say.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time since, for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line.
Now, look at the look on the dude's face next to him. He's got this kind of tight-lipped smirk going on. Obviously, he's one of these leftists, a Democrat. The Democrats, even though I've seen so many videos today of people, just regular people who didn't have any political leanings, they're business people or regular working people or whatever. And they said, you guys, you got wiped out in this election. The Senate is going Republican. I think they're going to have 52 or 53 seats in the Senate. It looks like the House is going Republican and the presidency is going Republican as well. And you sit there smugly smirking when somebody makes, Scott, in this case, Scott Jennings, makes a very sincere and meaningful and truthful observation about how it's been on these politically charged networks down in the United States for the past year. He's right. So it would be, for any Democrat to come out and say, we need unity, it would be false. It would be a virtue signal. Because they wouldn't really mean it. Just from the look on this guy's face alone. Let's continue.
And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that
she is angry. You can tell, look at her in the blue jacket. She is angry. This guy here, the bald guy in the far left, look at him. He's like, yeah, whatever. The only one who looks like he's really listening, and I'm, kind of impressed by this, is Anderson Cooper.
Both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Last night I played a video of, what was it? It was our deputy prime minister and the minister of industry in committee talking about these oil and gas caps. And I said, Chrystia Freeland and the MP from North Van, I forget his name right now, it's not coming to me, but they laughed at the conservatives asking the questions about how many jobs are going to be lost from this oil and gas cap the liberals want to impose. They want to go back to 2019 and take the levels from 2019, reduce those levels by 35% by 2030, which is going to cost roughly 3% of our GDP and something like 110,000 jobs in oil and gas. And that would obviously affect Alberta and Saskatchewan. And they laughed, they chuckled, they smirked, and they said, actually, no, this plan is a job creating model. It's not about losing jobs, it's about gaining jobs. How can you say that? Where will jobs be gained from these caps? And in the meantime, we continue to import dirty oil from the Middle East. It makes absolutely no sense that these people would be so smug and egotistical and arrogant and condescending to the people who can barely scrape 2 dimes together right now. It amazes me no end. I want to tell you guys, hang on a minute. I want to tell you guys the story of a guy I met today. This is what I referred to earlier when it comes to people who want to be with you. They want to be on your side, but they're just not quite caught up, basically because of the circumstances of their life. So this guy I talked to today, his name is Jason. And he said, well, Shadow, the last time I saw you would have been 7 or 8 years ago. You were still working at that radio station there. I said, yeah, okay. And he wanted to talk. I was in a hurry. I had to get on Anita's podcast live stream earlier this afternoon. So I had to go out and do things, but I stuck around and talked to Jason. And Jason said, so what do you think about the election last night? I said, well, I think it's a good thing. We're going to get away from this leftist narrative, this woke narrative, this awful oppressive censorship and be able to just breathe again. He goes, yeah, I know what you mean. But every time I try and bring it up to my friends and family. Now, our conversation continued. And dude is on our side, but didn't know about the smart cities, didn't know about the climate narrative, didn't know about the UN Pact for the Future, doesn't know about SDGs, doesn't know about DEI, didn't know about any of this stuff. And I'm glad he reminded me of that, because sometimes we have to get back to basics and understand, all right, yes, we have been in on this for quite some time. We're on, season 12, episode 14. We're down the road on this show here. We know what's going on. But there are people who are just coming into this just now. They're on season 1, episode 3. They're just trying to get all the characters and what's going on here. And they haven't even seen the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab yet. They don't know. So sometimes, guys, I will go back and I will talk about things that I haven't talked about for 2 or 3 years. And the reason that I do that is because there's new people coming in all the time. Right? It's like the old schoolhouses back in the 1890s when you had grade 2 students, 7-year-olds sitting in the same class as 14-year-olds who were in grade 9. They weren't learning the same things. They were all doing different things, but they were all sitting in the same room. And more importantly, And this is key. I know you guys have become a great community there in the comments on whatever platform. I know you rumblers consider yourselves, off on the side a little bit. I totally appreciate that. YouTube is now forming its own community. Facebook community has been strong for a while. The X community is huge. Of course, the all access members, you guys on shadowdavis.com, you're forming a new and growing community as well. Want you to take the time if you see somebody and sometimes the new people are a little bit shy to make comments because they don't want to appear stupid, like they don't know what's going on. So I'm not going to say anything. I want to encourage you guys to ask questions, you newcomers to the show. I want to encourage you to throw things out there, ask questions. If I don't see the comment, here we are live, right? And the comments are flying by me so fast that I can't keep up with them. But I know that you guys, you veterans of this show, do see them. And if you can give that person an answer, a response, anything to make them feel welcome here, I would personally really appreciate that. I consider you long timers here a very valuable part of this team. And I want you to know that. And I don't say that enough. So I want to thank you very, very much for doing so. And please, and I know most of you are already, please be welcoming to the new people who come into our community and want to know what's going on, because that's one of the reasons we're here. We're trying to spread information to people who want it. They wouldn't be here if they didn't want that information. So please, please be kind to them, answer their questions, and hopefully, they start digging through their own rabbit holes and finding out information for themselves. Now, what happens going forward with Donald J. Trump? He is, only the president-elect after all. He's not the president yet. There's a lot of people who say the Democrats or the deep state, they're never going to let him take office. Never. They tried to kill him twice. What's to stop him from trying a third time or a fourth time or however many times it's been? And that is a possibility. However, the administration, who's going to be part of that? Well, is it going to be RFK Jr. as the Secretary of Health and Human Services? I would say that would be a good choice. Look at this.
In your terms, would that mean clearing out the top level federal service workers that are currently at the FDA and the CDC?
In some categories, I would say.
What does that look like? Yeah.
In some categories of workers, there are entire departments, like the nutrition departments at FDA, that have to go. That are not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids. Why do we have Fruit Loops in this country that have 18 or 19 ingredients, and you go to Canada and it's got 2 or 3?
Would you eliminate any of the agencies?
To eliminate the agencies, as long as it requires congressional approval, I wouldn't be doing that. And I can get the corruption out of the agencies. This is what I've been doing for 40 years. I've sued all those agencies. I have a PhD in corporate corruption, and that's what I do. And once they're not corrupt, once Americans are getting good science and are allowed to make their own choices, they're going to get a lot healthier.
Do you know that RFK Jr. got 500,000 votes in Michigan, or was it 50,000? He got a lot of votes. In a couple of these states, he was still on the ballot in last night. Remember what I was saying last night? If you're voting for RFK Jr., it's one of two things. You're trying to stop Trump, but you don't want to vote for Harris because you can't bring yourself to do it, or you're a moron. One or the other, because he's been off the ballot now for a very long time in most states, but some states wouldn't let him off. Why not? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. What else? What else going forward? Well, here's an interesting article I got from the Daily Mail today. How Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and Dana White, that's right, from UFC, could all be a part of Donald Trump's revolutionary new White House cabinet. As Donald Trump is elected the 47th president of the United States, he's now set to compile a revolutionary White House cabinet of billionaires and MAGA allies. Trump could begin the process of choosing a cabinet and selecting other high-ranking admin officials in the coming weeks, but the Republican president-elect is also looking to create new positions, including a committee to audit the entire federal government, which he has said would be headed by Tesla billionaire Elon Musk. Trump is 78 years old. He's also promised to put rival turned endorser RFK in charge of the nation's health agencies, but not in a job with the Department of Health and Human Services. Oh, well, what another position would be that of a self-styled health czar. Interesting. Fans are also urging Trump to give UFC boss Dana White a role in his administration after his shocking speech during the president-elect's victory early Wednesday morning. It's understood that Trump's sons Eric and Dawn are playing a significant role in helping the president choose his second cabinet. I wonder if Vivek Ramaswamy, let me grab that thing so I can pull it down here. Hey, oh, hey, oh. I wonder if Vivek Ramaswamy is going to do anything here. So roll down. Elon Musk has vowed to establish an independent government efficiency panel that would audit the entire federal government, an idea suggested by Musk. It's not detailed how the body would function. The government's already has watchdogs such as the Office of Management and Budget and investigators general at federal agencies. But Trump has said Musk would head this commission. Musk was one of the biggest donors. All right, so never mind the donors. What else we got here? Self-styled health czar. Self-styled. Well, we saw what he was going to do in that video. Just as press secretary, that would be hilarious. Dana White as the press secretary. He wouldn't take any shit from any of these woke clowns. Oh, that would be so funny. Dana White as press secretary. Why not? That'd be a good twist. Robert O'Brien as Secretary of State. Okay, I don't know this guy. Trump's fourth and final national security advisor during his first term maintains a close relationship, and the two speak often. He's likely in the running for Secretary of State or other top foreign policy national security posts. He's maintained close contacts with foreign leaders since Trump left office, having met with Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel in May. Bill Haggerty. Oh, by the way, for you all access members on the website, shadowdavis.com, got an interesting video regarding Donald Trump. Is he who we think he is? Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Remember, we've talked about the two cabals or maybe more fighting over world control here. We got the Chinese WEF cabal that wants total totalitarianism and Marxism to run our lives, digital ID, all of that stuff. Then there's the other cabal, the Zionist cabal, the one that we've been in since we were born. There's that cabal. And we're gonna talk about that in the extension tonight after 9 o'clock Central on the website shadowdavis.com. So if you're an all access member, get set for that. Oh, by the way, the full interview with Jason Christoff, mind control expert from Monday night, that is available on the website as well. So go ahead and sign up for all that extra content. Oh, and I ordered some mugs today. So I'm going to start giving those away. I'm not going to sell them. I'm going to start giving those away. So anyway, there's this guy here, Bill Haggerty, U.S. Senator from Tennessee, worked on Trump's 2016 transition effort. What's he going to do? Might be an ambassador to Japan. Marco Rubio. What's he going to be? Foreign affairs, maybe? Larry Kudlow. Oh, I don't like this. Served as director of National Economic Council for much of Trump's term, has an outside spot at becoming Treasury Secretary. Jamie Dimon, that's an interesting one. Chief Executive Officer of JP Morgan Chase. Right? Scott Bessent. I don't see Vivek anywhere here. Yeah, so guys, what I'm saying, Tom Homan, this would be a good choice for Secretary of Homeland Security. I like him. I'm sure that you've seen some videos that he's put out there. Of him testifying in front of the House and taking down, what's your name there? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, yeah. Funny. Chad Wolf. served as Trump's acting Secretary of Homeland Security for 14 months. During his first presidency, may have a shot at heading DHS, Mark Green. So there's all of these people who may take a role. I don't see Vivek anywhere. Mike Pompeo, Tom Cotton, that'd be a good choice. John Ratcliffe as Attorney General. That seems to be the consensus so far. White House Chief of Staff, Brooke Rollins. So all of these names, I'm sure we'll get to know intimately in the next few months and definitely few years. How did world leaders react to this today? Well, here's what Justin Trudeau put out on his X earlier today. He said, congratulations to Donald Trump on being elected president of the United States. The friendship between Canada and the U.S. is the envy of the world. I know President Trump, and I will work together to create more opportunity, prosperity, and security for both our nations. I think Trudeau is going to be running against Trump at every opportunity. I think he's going to try and make Polyev Trump North, and that's Trudeau's plan going forward, but I said that on the show last night. Here's what Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, said. I had an excellent call with President Trump and congratulated him on his historic landslide victory. His tremendous campaign made this result possible. I praised his family and team for their great work, and we agreed to maintain close dialogue and advance our cooperation. Strong and unwavering U.S. leadership, blah, 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 blah. I wonder if they talked about an unconditional surrender. That would be good. World leaders react to Donald Trump's historic White House victory. So let's go ahead and see who. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, said, congratulations, President Trump, ready to work together as we did for 4 years with your convictions in mind, with respect and ambition for more peace and prosperity. I'm not going to try and read that. That is the National Security Minister of Israel, Itamar Ben-Gvir, says, yes, God bless Trump. Viktor Orban is the Prime Minister of Hungary. He said the biggest comeback in U.S. political history. Congratulations, Donald Trump, on your enormous win, a much-needed victory in the world. Nigel Farage, who was at the Trump party last night at Mar-a-Lago, said he's done it again. The most incredible political comeback of our lifetime. Geert Wilders, congratulations, President Trump. Congratulations, America. Never stop, always keep fighting and win elections. Nahib Bukele. That's from El Salvador. By the way, El Salvador, one of the best countries going right now. If you're looking for a place to move, you want to get out of Canada, El Salvador. I know it sounds weird, but El Salvador seems to be the place to go. Congratulations, President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. May God bless you and guide you. What else? Scott Morrison. I think he's Australia, right? Yeah, Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Congratulations, President Trump. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. Yeah. Congratulations. That's good. So the day after the election, what comes out? Britain has identified its first case of a new variant of the Mpox. Oh no! Oh no! Run for the hills. It's a new variant. They are going to try and saddle Trump. If they don't kill him, they're going to try and saddle him with every single distraction problem they can come up with. They're going to try and sabotage everything. Speed bumps, like hidden trap doors, everything they're going to probably try. They can't do this because they don't control the Senate or the House, but they could try and impeach him somehow or continue to impugn him somehow through lawfare. I'm sure they'll think of something. I'm sure they've already got a plan. And this, who knows what they're going to try and do with this. But you would think by now, because he's got RFK with him too, right? He's going to know, all right, this is BS. I'm sorry. We're going to step on this right now. This is nothing. You guys don't worry about this. It's a bunch of crap. If the establishment tries to push this as the next thing, as disease X, right? Britain has detected its first case of the new Mpox variant. What's this called? Clade LB. The country's health security agency said today adding that the risk to the population remained low. Oh, thank God. The clade LB variant is a new form of the virus that was declared a global health emergency by the WHO in August after an outbreak in the Congo spread to neighboring countries in Africa. The case in a patient who had recently traveled to affected countries in Africa was detected, blah, blah, blah. So if the risk is low, no big deal, at least for now. What's going on in Canada? All of this stuff, Shadow, it's a distraction. I can't believe they fooled you. What's going on in Canada? Well, the federal government has ordered TikTok to wind up their Canadian business. What does that mean? No more TikTok in Canada? Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. They're going to allow TikTok in Canada. You'll be, well, not in Canada. If you have a TikTok account, apparently you'll still be able to access it. They're just not going to be able to do business in Canada, TikTok. So here's this very brief story we got from the AP, sorry, the CP today. The federal government ordering the dissolution of TikTok's Canadian business after a national security review of the Chinese company. Let's not forget they're Chinese. They did this review and they said, well, no more TikTok. Industry Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne said it's meant to address risks related to ByteDance Limited's establishment of TikTok Technology Canada Inc. Champagne says the move will not block Canadians' access to TikTok. He says it's important for Canadians to adopt good cybersecurity practices, including protecting their personal information. The dissolution order was made in accordance with the Investment Canada Act, which allows for the review of foreign investments that may harm Canada's national security. So why now would they do this? TikTok Canada did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and they still have not. So why now? Why now all of a sudden? It seems to me there's some kind of a plan bubbling with the Liberals over this that they're going to try and bring forward and somehow blame on Poilievre. He won't get the clearance. So he's not allowed on TikTok. I don't know. But, and you know what? This is good. We should be suspicious of every little thing the Marxists say and do. Watch everything. Quebec Premier Francois Legault is raising concerns about the prospect of a massive influx of immigrants to the province following Trump's victory yesterday. And he says Quebec has already reached capacity. During a news conference today in Quebec City, Legault said Canada must act quickly to secure its borders against a possible wave of migrants looking to escape Trump's threat of mass deportations. Oh no, I forgot about that. Are they coming here? We'll be calling on the federal government to fulfill its responsibility to protect our borders, he said. The problem isn't immigrants. It's the number. Right? Right? No, I guess we're just a bunch of racists. Bigots. We already have too many, so we shouldn't add to the problem. Here, Francois. Legault said Quebec could help the federal government monitor the border and airports, though he offered few details. He said he wants to follow up every week with Ottawa about the number of new arrivals in the province. Trump has promised to deport millions of undocumented immigrants as one of his top priorities, raising the prospect of a repeat of what happened after his 2016 election. Roxham Road, all of those migrants coming across the Canadian border. I think there was 3 or 4 different places, one definitely in Manitoba, one in Quebec. I think there was one in Ontario until they shut that down. His immigration policies during his first mandate, Trump now, helped propel a steady influx of asylum seekers north to Canada, largely through Quebec. And one last story here before we jump to, is Donald Trump really who we think he is? In the extension tonight on shadowdavis.com, and I've got about a 30-minute video to play for you that brings that into question, just so you know. Edmonton School Board Teachers Union defying parental rights policies. You see, that's what the Marxists tend to do, right? If they don't like it, a law or a rule, they just ignore it and say, come and get us. And nobody ever comes to get them. because of the two-tier policing. And, I believe that they arrogantly think that nobody's got the balls to come and get them. It's a game of chicken because they're scared of being called bigots in public. And that's what they've been relying on for the past few years. I think that we all have to get past that. Really. I mean, think about this. Are you personally scared of being called such a unsavory name in public? Oh my God. Oh no, I'm a bigot. They're calling me a bigot. I might lose my job over this. I'm a racist. I'm a transphobe. I want you to answer this question in comments if you would. Does that kind of thing scare you from speaking up? Please answer that honestly. And don't worry, I'm not going to sit here in judgment. I don't think anybody will. But what I will do is encourage you to get over it quickly. Because that's the one weapon they have. And we know we're not. We know we're not what they say we are. Right? The Edmonton Public School Board is gearing up for a fight with Alberta parents and Danielle Smith's government by opposing a series of parental rights policies. Wow. Are they going to get arrested? The school board issued a motion yesterday that attacked the right of parents to be informed about their children using different pronouns while at school and giving them more control over sex education. The motion quoted Senator Christopher Wells saying that the policies, if passed, they would become some of the most extreme anti-trans and anti-2SL blah, 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 blah policies, not only in Canada, but in the world. So what? I'm glad that they're a world leader in this. The policies provide additional protection for youth in healthcare, education, and sports. One key change is from the current policy where parents can opt their children out of lessons that teach sexual orientation and gender identity curricula. Parents will now have to opt them in. The school board's motion said this needs to be reverted immediately. It's not up to them. Allowing parents and guardians to opt out of sex ed is a long-standing practice that works, reads the motion. The process is transparent, respects students' well-being, as well as parental choice. There are numerous blah, 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 blah. However, nothing in Alberta's bills would remove sex ed. Parents would just have more say in what kind of sex ed their children get. Executive Director of Parents for Choice in Education, John Hilton O'Brien, criticized the evidence provided in the EPSB's motion, saying that it relied heavily on surveys, which doesn't speak to cause and effect. He said the evidence provided had been destroyed by the Cass review, which Smith previously called the most comprehensive review of the medical literature and the science behind the impacts of transitioning on children. Additionally, he said the school board fundamentally misunderstood children's right to privacy. He said they're arguing that a child's right to privacy is against the parents and that they, as bureaucrats, could exercise that right. However, in reality, the right to privacy is against the state and for the parents to exercise. They're flipping the very idea of human rights completely on its head, said Hilton O'Brien. These guys can't get it together with the $1 billion plus that they have. They couldn't get it together to give a salient response to this legislation. This is sheer incompetence. That fight continues. And I can't wait to see what happens there. But they are going to have to back down or face whatever consequences that the UCP government sees fit in Alberta. And I for one, would really like to see that showdown. Zionist occupation government conspiracy theory. You know that when the left wing, corporate media, or Wikipedia, or whatever entity online calls something a conspiracy theory, that you're flying right over the target. We are going to talk about this in the extension in just a couple of minutes on shadowdavis.com for you all access members. We'll see you in 2 minutes. And for the rest of you, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will catch you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central for another Shadow at Night live stream. Bye for now. All access. I'll see you very soon.